You've probably heard that walking is good for you. I know I had, for decades, honestly. It's one of those pieces of advice that's so common it starts to feel like background noise. And I'll be honest with you, for a long time I treated it that way. I thought walking was what you did when you didn't have time for anything else. Something light, something optional, something that wasn't really going to change much about how I looked or how I felt. What nobody ever explained to me, and what I wish someone had sat me down and said clearly when I was in my 50s, is that walking is not weak exercise. It's foundational movement. A daily walk doesn't just burn a few calories. It quietly changes how your brain works, how your body handles stress, how sugar moves through your bloodstream, how energy is produced inside your cells, and how your mood is regulated throughout the day. And here's the part that surprised me most. A lot of women already walk. I was one of them. But I never experienced the real benefits. Not because walking doesn't work, it absolutely does, but because my body didn't recognize what I was doing as a meaningful signal. It was too irregular, too half-hearted, too much of an afterthought squeezed between everything else I was doing for everyone else. Today I want to walk you through exactly what happens inside your body when walking becomes a real, consistent habit. Not hype, not miracle promises, just what I've learned, explained simply and honestly from rebuilding my own health after 60. And by the end, I think you'll understand why walking may be one of the most powerful health habits a woman can build at this stage of life, especially if she does it the right way. Let me start with what walking does to the brain, because this is where it gets truly eye-opening. Inside your brain, there's a structure called the hippocampus. You don't need to remember the name. I certainly didn't when I first read about it. What matters is its job. It helps you form memories, learn new things, and stay mentally sharp. As we age, the hippocampus naturally shrinks. That shrinkage is closely linked to memory problems and cognitive decline. For a long time, scientists believed that process was permanent. Then they studied walking. In one well-known study, older adults walked at a steady pace for about 40 minutes, 3 times per week. After 1 year, researchers looked at their brains again. The hippocampus had actually grown. Not just slowed its decline, it had rebuilt tissue. That means walking didn't just slow brain aging, it helped reverse part of it. This happens because walking increases blood flow to the brain and supports a protein that helps brain cells grow and communicate. You can think of it as nourishment for your mind. And this is why women who walk regularly often notice clearer thinking, better memory, sharper focus. Not because they're trying harder, because their brain is healthier. If you've ever come home from a walk and felt mentally lighter, like things just made more sense, that wasn't coincidence. That was biology doing exactly what it's designed to do when you give it the right signal. Now let me talk about stress, because I think this one matters enormously for women our age. Stress isn't just emotional, it's chemical. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol. Cortisol is useful in emergencies, but when it stays elevated day after day, from worry, from responsibility, from poor sleep, from years of putting yourself last, it starts doing real damage. Poor rest, weight that won't budge, a feeling of constant tension that you can't quite name but can't quite shake either. I lived in that state for nearly a decade without fully recognizing it. I'd wake up already tight across the shoulders. I'd reach for my phone before I'd even had water. My breathing was shallow before the day had barely started. My whole nervous system was running on edge, and I thought that was just what getting older felt like. Walking interrupted that cycle for me. A steady, rhythmic walk activates the part of your nervous system responsible for calm, repair, and recovery. That predictable left-right motion tells your brain something important. You are safe. That's why a walk feels calming even when your problems haven't changed. Your body chemistry has shifted. Walking doesn't erase what's weighing on you. What it does is teach your body how to turn the alarm off instead of staying locked in that tense, wired state all day long. And this effect gets even stronger when you walk outside, where natural light and open space further signal safety to your brain. I walk outdoors almost every day now, not because I'm disciplined in some extreme way, because it's become the part of my day where I feel most like myself. Here's another thing I didn't expect. Walking doesn't just calm the brain, it frees it. Researchers at Stanford tested creative thinking while people were sitting compared to while they were walking. Walking increased creative output by roughly 60%. And when I read that, I thought, well, that explains a lot. When you sit for long stretches, especially under pressure, blood flow slows and your thinking narrows. You focus hard, but your mind struggles to make new connections. Walking reverses that almost immediately. Each step helps send blood back toward the heart and up to the brain. More circulation means more oxygen, more clarity. Walking also activates what's called the default mode network, the system your brain uses for insight, imagination, and connecting ideas you wouldn't normally link together. That's why so many people solve problems while walking, not while sitting and forcing themselves to think harder. Walking creates mental space, and mental space is where solutions quietly appear. I can't tell you how many times I've walked out the door feeling stuck on something, a family situation, a decision I couldn't sort through, and come home 20 minutes later with the answer sitting right there, clear as day. Now let me talk about blood sugar because this one is more relevant to women over 55 than most of us realize. Every time you eat, sugar enters your bloodstream. Insulin helps move that sugar into your cells for energy. But over time, especially with years of stress, inconsistent eating, and not enough movement, many women become insulin resistant. Sugar stays in the blood longer. Energy crashes happen mid-afternoon. The body stores more fat, especially around the middle, and none of it responds the way it used to. Walking directly improves this. When your muscles contract during a walk, they pull glucose out of your bloodstream to use as fuel, and this process requires very little insulin. Research shows that walking for just 10 minutes after a meal can significantly reduce blood sugar spikes, sometimes more effectively than one longer workout done hours later. This matters because blood sugar problems don't always look dramatic. They show up as feeling sleepy after lunch, craving something sweet by 3 o'clock, needing caffeine just to feel normal. I had all of those patterns for years and never connected them to anything. Walking after meals, just a short, easy walk, taught my body how to handle food properly again, not aggressively, gently, efficiently. Here's something else that changed for me that I want you to understand. Energy. Inside your cells are tiny structures called mitochondria. They're essentially your energy factories. When they don't work well, you feel tired even when you've slept enough. The problem isn't rest, it's production. Your body isn't making energy efficiently. Walking stimulates the creation of new, healthy mitochondria and helps clear out the damaged ones. Unlike intense exercise that spikes stress hormones, walking improves energy production gently and sustainably. That's why women who walk regularly often describe a calm, steady kind of energy. Not wired, not exhausted, just capable, present, ready for the day without needing to push through it. There's a real difference between borrowing energy from caffeine and sugar and actually producing it from the inside. Walking gave me back that second kind, little by little. Let me also mention digestion, because this is something a lot of women deal with quietly and don't always connect to movement. Your intestines rely on muscle contractions to move food through your system. Sitting slows that process. Bloating, discomfort, sluggishness, these aren't just inconveniences. They're signs that your body needs movement to function the way it was designed to. Walking gently stimulates digestion by encouraging those natural contractions. This is why walking after meals has been recommended across cultures for centuries. It's not a trend. It's not a cleanse. It's physiology doing what it's supposed to do when you give it the chance. Walking also trains the muscles you use to breathe, especially the diaphragm. Over time, your body becomes more efficient at using oxygen. Breathing gets deeper, calmer, more controlled. I noticed this one gradually. I wasn't gasping going up the stairs at my daughter Emily's house anymore. I wasn't winded carrying groceries in from the car. It's a quiet change, but it matters. Especially as we get older and everyday activities start feeling harder than they should. Now the heart. A lot of women believe only intense exercise strengthens the heart. But large studies comparing walkers and runners found that when the amount of energy used is similar, walking provides comparable heart benefits. Walking lowers blood pressure, improves cholesterol balance, and strengthens circulation, without overstressing your joints or flooding your system with cortisol. What I realized is that consistency matters more than intensity. That idea changed everything for me. Because I spent years thinking that if I couldn't do something hard enough, it wasn't worth doing at all. Walking proved that wrong in the most graceful way. Let me say something about joints and posture, because I know this is a real concern for a lot of us. Walking doesn't damage your joints, it nourishes them. Movement stimulates joint lubrication and reduces stiffness. It's sitting, hour after hour, day after day, that causes joints to deteriorate. Walking upright also retrains your posture. It counters the rounded shoulders and forward head position that come from years of leaning into screens, desks, and responsibilities. Better posture often means less back pain, better balance, more confidence in how you carry yourself. And I'll tell you honestly, when I started paying attention to how I walked, how I stood, how I held my shoulders, I felt like a different woman, not younger, stronger, more present, more like someone who belongs in the room. Posture changes how you feel about yourself. It's one of those things that sounds small until you experience it. Now, mood. This one is personal for me. Walking changes brain chemistry. It increases serotonin, endorphins, and natural calming chemicals while lowering stress hormones. Scientific reviews have found that walking is effective in both preventing and managing anxiety and depression. Not because it distracts you from your feelings, but because it changes the biological conditions that shape them. During my rough years, from about 48 to 57, I was running on empty emotionally. I was tired, soft, stiff, disconnected from my own body. I didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel attractive or strong or even fully present in my own life. Walking didn't fix all of that overnight, but it gave me something back, a rhythm, a steadiness, a daily signal that I was choosing myself, not in a selfish way, but in a necessary one. What changed for me was realizing that taking care of my body wasn't vanity, it was respect. Now here's something I want to talk about that most walking videos don't cover. And it's the reason I care about this more than anything else. One of the most overlooked benefits of walking has nothing to do with weight loss, step counts, or fitness goals. It has everything to do with how long you stay independent. Study after study shows that people who walk regularly don't just live longer, they age better. They maintain the ability to do everyday things without help. They get out of chairs more easily. They climb stairs without fear. They recover faster from illness. They fall less often. And they remain mentally sharp for longer. I watched my mother lose her mobility earlier than she should have. She was in her 70s and the decline came quietly, not from one big event, but from years of inactivity, muscle loss, and a body that had stopped being asked to do much of anything. When she fell, she couldn't recover well, and it broke my heart because I could see that so much of it might have been preventable. My older sister Carol went through something similar in her 60s. Joint pain, low confidence in movement, gradual weight gain, less and less activity. It became a cycle that fed itself. I decided I wasn't going to let that be my story. Not because I'm better than them, I'm not, but because I had the information and the chance to do something different. And walking was where it started. When you walk, your brain coordinates movement, balance, and rhythm. Your muscles contract and relax in sequence. Your heart adjusts blood flow. Your joints move through their natural range. Your nervous system stays alert and responsive. All of that, working together, is what keeps you independent. As we age, the body doesn't usually fail all at once. What happens is disconnection. Muscles weaken, balance declines, reaction time slows, confidence drops. Women start moving less, which accelerates the decline even further. Walking interrupts that spiral. It preserves leg strength, especially the muscles that protect your hips and knees. It maintains balance by constantly challenging your inner ear and coordination. It reinforces posture, and because it's weight-bearing, it helps slow the bone loss that leads to fractures later in life. There's also a strong brain connection. Long-term walking habits are linked to lower rates of cognitive decline. Not because walking is magic, but because movement keeps blood flowing, inflammation lower, and neural connections active. Walking keeps your systems talking to each other. That's why it's not just a fitness recommendation, it's an aging well recommendation. Walking doesn't just add years to your life, it adds life to your years. And for women like us, that distinction matters more than any number on a scale ever could. Now, here's the part most women get wrong, and it's the part I got wrong for the longest time. They think the benefits come from intensity, from duration, from hitting some magic number like 10,000 steps. But the real driver behind all of these changes is much simpler than that. It's consistency. Your body is constantly adapting to what it experiences most often. When something happens occasionally, the body treats it as noise, irrelevant. When something happens regularly, the body treats it as a signal. Walking works because it sends a clear, repeatable signal to every system in your body. When you walk most days, your muscles stay responsive. Your blood sugar stays more stable because glucose is being used regularly. Your stress hormones stay lower because your nervous system isn't constantly on alert. Your joints stay lubricated because they're being moved through their natural range. Your brain stays sharp because movement demands coordination and awareness. None of that requires perfection. You don't need to walk fast every day. You don't need long walks every time. You don't need to feel motivated or inspired or ready. What you need is repetition. A 15-minute walk done 5 days a week will outperform a single intense workout followed by 6 days on the couch. A short walk after dinner, done consistently, can reshape your blood sugar patterns more effectively than sporadic exercise bursts that come and go with your willpower. Consistency is what tells your body, this is who we are now. And once your body believes that movement is part of your identity, not a punishment, not a project, just part of how you live, the changes start stacking quietly in the background. It doesn't have to be extreme. You can start where you are. That's what I did at 60. I didn't overhaul my life in a week. I started walking every day, gently, intentionally, and little by little, everything shifted. My posture, my energy, my confidence, the way I felt getting dressed in the morning, the way I moved through a room, the way I showed up for my grandchildren. Walking isn't basic, it's foundational. It's the movement your body was designed to understand, the one your brain responds to, the habit that quietly supports your heart, your metabolism, your joints, your mood, your independence, all at the same time. And the most important part, it doesn't require perfection. So here's what I want you to try. For the next 7 days, don't worry about walking faster. Don't aim for some big number. Don't overthink it. Just walk intentionally. That means showing up most days, moving at a steady pace, and giving your body a signal it can recognize and build on. I'd love to hear your plan. Tell me in the comments, I'm walking 10 minutes, I'm walking 20 minutes, I'm walking 30 minutes. Writing it down makes it real. And honestly, knowing other women are doing this alongside you makes it easier to keep going. If this helped you see walking differently, not just as exercise, but as a tool for long-term health and independence, let me know. Share it with a friend, a sister, a mother, a woman in your life who needs to hear that it's not too late to start. And if you want more honest, clear information about staying strong and healthy after 60, without the hype, without the extremes, stay with me. I go deep because I believe you deserve real answers, not empty motivation. Your body responds to what you repeat. Start walking today. I'll see you in the next one.